Hello, I'm Bood FM. Thanks for joining me today. You've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title, you probably know what this is. It is the European Super League. But before we get into this, if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Make sure you check out my series with Manchester Central FC, Manchester's third and forgotten team. But yeah, European Super League. I have made these before. I made it for my channel on FM18. I made it for another channel last year, but this year I've done it again. I think this is my best one. Not only from the European Super League, I think it's my best ever database. I put a lot into this one, more than any other, I'll be honest with you. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I can't wait to go through it with you. I think it's one most people will download and play. So hopefully you enjoy it. Before we get into it though, why don't you tickle that like button for me? Do a Bood a favour. Right, should we get started? Now what you're going to be seeing flashing behind me is the Football Manager data editor. Each league I've used from each country with the teams highlighted that I've used. Now, whenever I've done anything like this before, I've actually been abused by people who have been angered that I haven't used their team or I've not used their country in it or so on and so on. And you can only go so far with stuff. So I always go off using teams that I know of, but also the reputation points that Sports Interactives give these teams. And you'll see these leagues are arranged by their reputation. I've not picked that rep. That is Sports Interactive, the makers of the game. So I just pick a number that I want out of a country, highlight them, and it could be anyone. And sometimes you'll see a team that you just miss out and you think they'd have been good, but you can't pick everyone, right? So obviously I've picked these teams, and you should have seen them all flashing, maybe quite quickly behind. Then what I've done is I created, the whole thing's called the European Super League, but within this we've got 3 divisions. So I created the one division first, I created the Premier League, and I put all 66 teams into that league, right? Arranged it by its reputation, and then I just chopped it. Dead easy. So the top 22 teams became the Premier League, the next 22 became the European Championship, and the bottom 22 became the European Division 1. Dead simple. I think it works pretty well. So should we jump into the game and I'll explain it in a bit more detail. Now, whenever you do something like this and you're taking lots of teams from different countries, you need a base nation. If you've seen my Battle of Britain database, you'll know that I use Wales as a base nation, but whenever I do Europe, I always tend to use Andorra. It's just a small little country that I can easily move the teams out of and the competition out of it, and just use it as a home nation. Now I've changed it. You've got to keep the flag. I don't know how to change the flag. I can never find that. So we've got the Andorra flag. We're paying homage to a country we've taken over, but we've changed its name to the European state. Now this is just a base of headquarters for the FA, the European FA. That's it. No teams play in this actual piece of land. Every team is still based in its own country, in its own stadium. They're just playing in a new division. Like Cardiff and Swansea are Welsh teams, but they play in England. It's the same process, the same thing I've done with the editor. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you the 3 different leagues. I'm going to tell you what I've done with the finances maybe, and I'm going to show you the cup competitions and talk about a few other things. So we'll start off with the Premier League, and it is just, like I said, the top 22 teams in Europe according to their reputation. So Valencia and Tottenham have just snuck in. Like I said, anything like this, it's a database. You download the database, you don't like what I've done, just switch the teams around. Pick a team that you want in. Dead easy. Don't moan at me. You can just change it. So yeah, here we are with the Premier League. Great league. Top 4 teams qualify for the Champions League. You've got the usual, same as the Premier League pretty much, exactly the same. You've got the Europa League's places as well. 3 teams get relegated at the bottom. If we look at the rules, good money. Each team gets 130 million at the start of the year in TV money, probably spread over the season. If you come top, you win. You get 95 million, and then that all the way down to the 66 team in Division 1 just goes down a million each position. So obviously if you come bottom in the Premier League, you get 74 million. If you get relegated, you get a parachute payment of 10 million. There's a lot of games to play as well. You've got to play each other twice. There's 42 games in a season, but that's lots of fun, isn't it? You want lots of games. There you can see the European qualifications. And when it comes to the bans, I've done quite similar to my NFL series. You have to get a good 6 yellow cards before you're going to get anything bad when it comes to your discipline. But financially, it's an amazing league, and I'll be honest with you, I remember one person commenting on one of my old ones when they said, oh, but if you you know, you're Athens and you're in Division 3. If you'd have stayed in Greece, you'd have been playing European football. Yeah, but they won't be going that far in it, and they would be getting nowhere near as much money. A lot of these teams, the smaller Euro teams, make well more money in something like this. And that'll be the aim, innit? Use that money, build a team up, build your facilities up, get to the Premier League and get to the Champions League or Europe that way. I think it's a lot of fun. So let's move on to the next league. Here we are with the Championship. And you might also notice there's a winner of every competition, even though nothing's been played. I've just done that just to give it a good grounding, especially when it came to the Super Cup and so on. I just wanted to give it 1 year's history. But don't worry about that. But here we are with the Championship. And this is a tough league, to be fair. It's a bit more mixed now when it comes to countries. You've got great teams like Ajax, Athletic Bilbao. You've got the Russian teams, a lot of Dutch teams, Turkish teams, a couple of German teams, French teams. This is an exciting league, I reckon. This is the kind of league you jump in and put a few years in it and try and start battling out with the big boys in the Premier League. But the same as English system, top 2 go through, then the 4 next teams are in the playoff. Obviously one of them goes through and the bottom 3 get relegated. And when it comes to the rules, they're exactly the same. Obviously, like I said, when it comes to your placing, you get a bit less money, $1 million with each position. And if you get relegated out of this division, you get a £5 million parachute payment. Everything else, though, exactly the same. On to the Division 1, the 3rd tier of European football. But this could be a lot of fun. This is the challenge. I mean, there's the teams in here, random, but they're all very equal. I think every team in this league ranges from reputation of 6,000 points to like 6,100 points, so there's not a lot. This is going to be the interesting league to watch, really, to see who can come out on top, because they're all so equal. But also, you could jump in here and go to any different country, but you're not limited to that country. You're not like a one-man band in an Austrian league or something. You've got a proper challenge here. You could really build something special. And I think when I play it, I'm going to jump in at this point, I'll be honest with you, because this is the kind of thing I like to do. I like to challenge myself. But yeah, same rules again. Top 2 teams go up. You got the playoffs, and one of them teams will go up. Obviously, no relegation in this division. And moving on to the rules, and again, same rules, exactly the same. All the dates for start and end of the season are exactly the same. As they get a bit less money, but even if you come bottom of the entire system, you still get 30 million. Basically, as well, they mentioned with the Championship, they get 100 million TV money. And with this league, they get 70 million TV money. So even if you finish the bottom, you're going to get 30 million and the 70 million. So you're looking at 100 million in your bank. If you're Rangers or something like that, that is good money to start building a good team. So yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy it. Next up is the European Super Shield. This is the FA Cup. This is the cup where if you win it, you get a Europa League spot. There's good prize money, there's good money in each round. It gets better and better the closer you get to the final. The final is played at a purpose-built stadium I've made. It's not the national stadium, I've left that. It's a purpose-built Super Dome stadium for the cup finals. Yeah, it's basically the FA Cup. This one starts after Christmas and runs to the end of the season. Next is a League Cup. Now there's no European spot for this one, unfortunately. It's just a League Cup. Its reputation is a lot lower as well, so this is the kind of cup that the bigger teams might not be bothered with, but it gives the smaller teams a chance to maybe win some silverware. Obviously prize money and everything else is a lot less. This starts at the beginning of the year and finishes just before Christmas. Then we have the European Charity Trophy. This is basically a Super Cup. So the winner of the Euro Shield, the FA Cup, plays the winner of the Premier League at the beginning of the year. Prize money is okay as well. So if you're very successful in this game, you could become very rich and you could buy a very, very good team. Now when it comes to your reserve teams, your youth teams, a lot of these teams, when you're building a database like this, some have under 18s, some have under 19s, a lot of them are in specific leagues, and if you take these teams out of these leagues, the full game doesn't load up properly. So the best thing I found was to leave all the under 18s. You'll still have some of these teams. I don't know if they'll be playing in specific leagues, but they're still there. But the actual team you have, apart from your first team, is your reserves. That's it. We've got 3 reserve groups. You'll see reserve group 1, 2 and 3. And that's the place I'd put your young players and your reserve players, basically, because they're going to definitely get game time in a proper competition. So here we are on the European competition club rankings, and you can see all the leagues here. The European Premier League is the best league in Europe. European Championship is the second best league in Europe. So, you know, they're the best leagues. You've got Premier League, you've got La Liga, and then the Bundesliga, obviously, and then you've got Division 1. So it's a good league rep-wise, and then after that you've got what, Serie A, the French league. So this is the place to be when it comes to the cups. The Super Shield, the FA Cup, is the best league, and the League Cup's the second best. And I mean, I did put the reputation down on that, but it's still the next best league cup, sorry, followed by the FA Cup, the DFB Pokal, and so on. So it's the place to be, and a lot of these teams have left their home country for the riches of the European states, European Super League. But what a fantastic competition this is going to be to play. Now each division has its own awards as well. I think there's 13 awards for each division. We can't actually look at them yet because they don't get drawn, so if you go on it you can't see them. But I have tested, and they do work. And you've got MVP of the year, you've got Manager of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Golden Boots or Top Goal Scorer, Best 11, Goalkeeper of the Year, Defender of the Year, Midfielder of the Year, Striker of the Year, Goal of the Year, Coaches Player of the Year, so you'll get to vote in that as well. The Presses Player of the Year, and of course Players Player of the Year, and they've each got an individual one for each division. Now we've also made an entire media. We've got new newspapers, European TV stations, radio shows, all new journalists as well. So each division's got its own radio, its own TV. So you might see some random names come up, especially with the Eurosports TV station. They've got people like Rio Ferdinand, Alan Shearer, Gary Lineker, all these famous ex-footballer journalists working for them. So just a little added element for you. Right then, welcome to the future. It's 2022, 1st of July, and we've had a good 5 years now of the database, so it's definitely bedded in. I prefer jumping in at times like this when any database needs to bed in. This one probably less than others. The NFL database had no players, so it took time for players to come into the country. The Battle of Britain, the same. You've got Irish and Welsh teams needing to catch up to the English teams, whereas this is a different thing. I mean, don't get me wrong, the teams in Division 1 are a bit behind, maybe, you know, like a Romanian team aren't the same as a Premier League team, but I reckon it's probably a bit easier to grow. We'll have to wait and see. But here we are with the Premier League, and obviously at first glance I can see a couple of teams I know have come up. I think Fenerbahce and Lazio, they're definitely. Celtic, look at Celtic, wow, I'm well chuffed for that. Celtic win Division 1, so they've risen through. That's quality. Paris Saint-Germain have won the last two, Man City have won one, United won one, and Juve won one. Now we won't go through all the awards, but I'll show you them quickly there. You'll see there's a full list of the awards. I'm just going to look at the MVP, and Thomas Lemar plays for PSG. They've won it last few years. Got Neymar, obviously. Dybala at United. He always signs for United. Here we are with the Championship. Galatasaray won the last one. Liverpool have won one, so that means Liverpool got relegated. Well, Celtic have won it. Milan, Atletico Club Bilbao as well. I'm just looking at some of them teams. Valencia, they got relegated, didn't they? I love that. I can't believe Celtic must have done that pretty rapid. Dortmund have been relegated as well. Oh, this is a lot of fun. Not that I don't like Dortmund, I just think it's fun how they just, it must be competitive. Here we are with the MVP for the Championship for the last few years. And yeah, there you go. Some good names, some good players. Got a regen now coming in at third. Galatasaray must have some good players. And on to the last division, it's the European Division 1. Mould won the last one, well done. FC Copenhagen, Dynamo, Moscow, Celtic, there you go. Celtic won the first one, but they've gone just up and up and up, which is brilliant really, but they've got the facilities, haven't they? And hopefully they'd used that money that they wouldn't have got in Scotland and built a team, obviously. But yeah, like I said, I'll put all these save files out there for you. If you want to have a good look at the details yourself, go for it. Here we are with the MVP of Division 1, probably a few lesser named players here, and looking like we're getting some regens now. We'll have a look at who the best players are in Europe, and are they all playing in the league. Have a quick look at actually what's going on around Europe as well when it comes to divisions, because obviously a lot of these big teams have left. I'm going to have a look at some of the regions. Now we're not going to look at every single league. I just want to look at some of the main ones, especially like leagues that have got a bit boring. So we're going to start off with France, Ligue 1, and we'll have a look. Did it get any more exciting? Past winners, yeah. So once PSG and Monaco sodded off, look at that. See, that is a more exciting league to play. I mean, if you want, you can actually play these leagues. I made sure they're all playable. Obviously, when you take teams out of countries, them leagues become unplayable unless you replace them, and It is a very long process. It takes forever, especially when you do something on this kind of scale. But every league is still playable. So that's France. Let's have a look at the Prem. I'm English. Let's have a look at the Premier League past winners. Bournemouth. Bournemouth won the very first Premier League when all the big boys went. That is amazing. They've won another one. Stoke and Leicester have got one. And Southampton are the current champions. That's awesome. Let's go back again. Let's have a look at some more. La Liga can get a little bit boring. It was more of a three-team kind of league, wasn't it, really? Past winners. Again, look, a bit more varied. So it's made the rest of Europe a bit more excited, a bit more equal. Bundesliga, again, that's a bit of a league that's a bit boring sometimes. Well, look at that. Leipzig won, Schalke, HSV, and Leipzig again. So it has made the rest of Europe a bit more exciting. Here we are on the list for all the best players arranged by value in Europe. Manchester United have got 3 of them. Look how many Paris Saint-Germain have got. Wow. I have put a little Easter egg in here for you. I put my son in it. I couldn't help it. I was sat with him when I was doing the database. I did put him in my NFL database, so he's in this one again. He's not as good, I don't think, as he is on the NFL database, but he is still a pretty good player. But by the look of it, all the best players in Europe are playing in the European Super League, and that's what you'd expect. Personally, obviously I can't have this go forever, but I'm going to delve into it a bit. I want to know who's playing at Bournemouth. Have they still got good players? It'd be interesting to know. Now I've arranged it by players that are no more than 21 years old, so they should all pretty much be regens, or at least 16 when the game starts. And it looks like some high value players at some big teams, so I definitely want to see who the top one is. Forget my boy, he's good. We've got Mori Dibate, I think his name is. So, you know, this database is creating some good regens. Good young Spanish striker at Real Madrid. We've got a guy at Monaco who's a real player, 21. Looks like he's turned into a good player. Who's this guy who's at Galatasaray? He's alright, isn't he? Left midfielder. A lot of techers. I like that, because they've become quite a good team, haven't they? Have Celtic got anyone? Because Celtic have done really well. They haven't got anyone on the main list. Man City have got a player here, they usually do. Beast. I reckon there's probably a lot of good regens, to be fair. Let's have another one. An Arsenal one, Jan Kraft. He's okay. Bayern Munich player, Pedro Pixie, would you say that is? Again, good player, so obviously this going to be some good regens. I love a regen. I can't wait to play this. I'm jumping in. I'm going to start in 2022. So let's finish off with looking at who's won all the cups and stuff. And the FA Cup, the European Super Shield, it's been quite varied. Inter have got themselves 2. United picked 1 up. Napoli as well. So that's quite good. I thought this would be dominated by the likes of Barcelona and Real Madrid. Let's go down to the League Cup. And again, it's quite mixed again, isn't it? Real Madrid, United, Paris Saint-Germain, Chelsea, Inter. I kind of hoped that by putting its reputation down, the big teams would maybe rest players for this and give the chance for smaller teams to win it, but it hasn't really worked out that way. Big teams are still dominating. Here's the charity trophy, the Super Cup. So yeah, this is the stadium, you'll see it. All the cup finals are all played at the European Superdome, which is a 75,000 seat. I didn't want to go too giddy, but it has got a roof and all the trimmings, so it is a great stadium. Now obviously with all these teams leaving their countries, there's only going to be a select few get into the Champions League. So it's not going to be the tournament it used to be, I suppose, because, you know, especially when you think all the teams in the Premier League would have been in the Champions League, and now there's only going to be 4 of them in it, or maybe 5 at a push. But you know, it is what it is. It's all about the actual domestic now. Champions League's took a back seat, but it's still a trophy you'd want to win, and it's still getting won by the big boys. When it comes to the Europa League, it's the same thing, but I'm guessing because a lot of these teams might finish 5th or 6th, or they win the cup and they're going to get into the Europa League instead. The better teams in this now, so this competition has probably took a step up in quality, maybe. So yeah, got Real Madrid have won it twice, Arsenal won it twice, Atletico Madrid. So yeah, it makes things interesting, I think. Here we are on the managers list for the Premier League, and Jose Mourinho's doing the job. Real Madrid are looking for a manager, so if you do download this save file, maybe you could just take that job straight on and try and dominate with Real Madrid. Luis Enrique, he's at Arsenal, Diego Simeone still at Atletico Madrid. Brendan Rodgers is still at Celtic, he's done a great job there. Eddie Howe at Chelsea, Antonio Conte at Bayern. So you know, big names. Jurgen Klopp, he's at Lazio. Zidane's at Monaco. Wow, Van Gaal's still knocking about. He's at Roma. That's the end. Hopefully you enjoyed this database run through and look into the future of it, and hopefully you'll download either one of the save files or the database itself. I've done no graphics for it, so it's just the bog standard logos that the computer makes, and logos, the trophy logos as well, all that stuff. If you haven't got the kits, I've got all the kits, you see. I get them from sortitoutside.com, and I'll put a link to that down below as well. You never struggle to find a kit on there. I've got them all, so I'm really chuffed with that. But hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, smash that like button. If you're new, feel free to subscribe. Hopefully loads more content coming your way. If you're interested, if this video does well, I might do a second part where we'll go right into the future of it and have a really good look at how it develops in maybe another 10 years or so on. I'll see how I feel about that. I just really want you to download it. I really want you to have a go with it, and if you do, I really want you to tell me what you're doing, what team, what level you're jumping in at, and how successful you've been with it. Let me know down in the comments, please let me know. But yeah, thanks for joining me, it means a lot. I've been Booed, you've been great. See you next time.